The Red Wings have lost 2 straight games, and if they're not careful, those back-to-back losses could turn into a 5-game losing streak before the Olympic break. The Red Wings are about to play their last home game for over a month. With back-to-back games against the Avalanche and the upcoming Olympic breaks, the Red Wings may be in for a tough stretch. They need to find a way to avoid a lengthy losing streak, and that's not going to be easy as they face the best team in the NHL. Detroit's about to hit their toughest and most important stretch of the season as they try to get back to the playoffs for the first time in almost a decade. This is your 7-Minute Wings. Welcome back to the Red Wings Report with Strings and Pucks. This is Jeremy Laura. Please click like, subscribe if you haven't, and share this out. Head over to hockeyhotstove.com. I write the Red Wings column, and for the Olympics, they're already assigning writers to each team. There's going to be some great coverage, and of course, I'll be talking about the 3 players that are going to be representing their countries for Detroit. Last night, the Grand Rapids Griffins lost 5-2 to the Chicago Wolves, and the Griffins have now dropped 3 straight games. Sebastian Cossa was pulled after the second period of that 5-2 loss after surrendering 5 goals on just 18 shots. The team hasn't looked good for the past couple of games, but they had a strong third period last night, outshooting Chicago 16-2 and scoring twice. The Griffins are facing their first real adversity of the season right now, and every team they play wants to try and knock them down a peg. The team needs to simplify their game. It is hard to imagine they won't turn things around. Cossa is second in the AHL with a 1.99 goals against and third in save percentage with a 9.27. It was a bad night at the office, but there's little doubt that they can turn things around. This team has been incredible this year, and Dan Watson has a good grasp on what they need to do. So heading into today, both the Avalanche and the Red Wings have lost their last 2 games. Neither team wants to be on a 3-game losing streak, so this game is going to be a battle. I mentioned this yesterday, but over a week ago when I was looking ahead at the last 5 games, I'd penciled in the back-to-back against Colorado as losses. But the Avalanche are 4-4-2 in their last 10, and Detroit hasn't lost more than 2 straight games since November. Still, things aren't going to be easy in this last stretch, and after today, Detroit won't play at home again until March 4th. When I was looking at the final 5 games, I'd said Detroit needed to find a way to beat the Kings and the Capitals because they could easily end up losing the 3 games after that heading into the break. The Red Wings do not want to be on a 4 or 5 game losing streak just before the break happens. And like I said, they're not going to be back at Little Caesars Arena until March 4th, more than a month away. They finish before the break with games in Colorado and Utah, and when they return, they face Ottawa, Carolina, and Nashville. And Detroit will play 8 divisional games through the end of March. Those are the 4-point games. Last year, when they got back from the 4 Nations, they had a disastrous return that included a 6-game losing streak. If you have Larkin, Raymond, and Seider all heading to the Olympics, Edvinsson's already injured. There's a scenario where you could lose both Edvinsson and Seider and one of Raymond or Larkin, and things could get ugly in a hurry. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Seider's been an Iron Man. He seems to be able to handle everything that's thrown at him. Edvinsson, we're hoping, should be back and ready to go after the break. But Larkin and Raymond last year, they got banged up at the 4 Nations, and they were not the same player, and the team went off the rails for the next 17 games. The team has 70 points right now. My original estimate for the playoffs was 96. I've adjusted that to 98, and I've heard other estimates of 97. So let's go with 97. Split the difference. If 97 is the number, the team needs to play 500 hockey over their next 27 games to get in. 27 points, 27 games. That seems like it should be an easy task for a team that's exceeded expectations this year. But the road ahead is going to be incredibly difficult. Detroit needs to find a way to end this next stretch on a high note. If they're still sitting at 70 points when they return from the break, If they lose all 3 of these next games and don't at least manage to get a couple points, it's going to be tough for them. Last year, in the final 27 games, the team went 11-13-3. That gave them 25 points. If they repeat that performance, they're going to miss the playoffs. I know there's a lot of you that think that's just not possible, that this team has shown way too much resiliency. But last year's Four Nations scenario, I believe, is a great comparison tool right now. You've got the same players heading over, and you've got more time invested and a more dangerous game. Larkin, Raymond, and Sider, they're about to play in a smaller rink than they've ever played on in their professional career. I talked about this. There was a construction problem. Somehow the Olympic rink for these skaters is about 6 feet shorter end to end. It was supposed to be, for the first time, North American specs on this rink. It was going to be the 85 by 200 that the NHL uses. Well, now it's more like 85 by 194 or 195. A smaller rink means a faster game. A faster game means a higher chance that there are injuries. Hopefully, no issues, the games go off without a hitch. But in these last games, these last 3 games before the break, I'd love to hear from you on this. Do you think Detroit can flip the script and grab a win against Colorado, or at least grab a couple points before the break? Let me know where you think they're going to finish. They're at 70 points now. I'm hoping they finish at 72 or 73. Do you think they're going to get there? Do you think they're going to stay at 70? And how do you think that return from Four Nations is going to go? And they're going to face a lot of tough teams, and several in their own division when they get back. This was your 7-Minute Wings.